They're profiting off of it because it's illegal here. I mean, they made our grandfathers into criminals because they were running their cars off of alcohol.
Yeah, we're in the same situation now. You've got an interesting difference in Arizona because you have a governor that allowed herself to kind of come into a more controversy with the federal government, and that could work out well if people will organize down there. We have a good friend, Mike Considine, down in Tucson, and Mike has been trying to restore the grand juries in Arizona because they got a little blind. They basically got co-opted by some wannabe patriots that really destroyed a good plan that was in motion. We had 50 grand juries organized on the 50 republics as of March 30th. And we were ready to rock and roll, and we even had assurance behind the scenes that had a lot of military support. But that got divided by, a number of really egotistical figures in the patriot movement. And then now, so we've lost some of the juries, and we're trying to reorganize them. And the grand jury is a real pillar of protection for the people. Even Justice Scalia himself on the Supreme Court said that the grand jury stands as a giant protective mechanism between the government and the people. So, and it's not under the judiciary. So there are folks down in Arizona. You can go to ArizonaGrandJury.com, ArizonaGrandJury.com, and through that website you can connect with Mike Considine and look into getting some action. But anyway, getting back to the topic.
Okay,
about,
hold on just a moment. We got a caller from Arizona, I believe, here. Who we got on the line here?
Hi, this is Michael Constine. Bruce just asked me to join in and listen on the show, and I've been listening to everything that you guys have been talking about, and it's been a very robust conversation, and I just did want to contribute a little bit about the concept of these liberty communities that you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And where our country's going. And one thing I just wanted to add to the conversation is what we're really talking about is the de jure movement and reestablishing sovereignty in the citizenry, because what's been going on since about 1871 is that the United States has moved away from a republic and has become a municipal corporation for these agents of the Vatican and the Crown through admiralty jurisdiction to come in and superimpose their corporate system onto the land, and it's completely fraudulent. But what we need to move into, and your concept of these liberty villages is a wonderful example. It's through the Constitution and our right to assemble is going to be the foundation of these new communities, and how they're going to basically establish these pockets of sovereign groups. Because just like Marianne was talking about, the corporation just isn't going to dissolve overnight. There's going to be a transition point. And a republic allows freedom for all. So these people that are committed to this pagan system, that literally has been around for thousands of years, it's not going to dissolve overnight. We need to find equilibrium. We need to find equanimity with our brothers and sisters that want to stay in this pagan 14th Amendment system. But it's through the Constitution and through our right to assemble and through the power of the grand jury that is going to be the foundation, because people need to get educated about their sovereignty. They need to be educated about the system that they're living in and the fraudulent contracts, the adhesion contracts that keep us bound to this pagan system, which basically just has a new spin through this color of law. But it's people getting rooted in their understanding of the law and even just studying the maxims of law. But that is what it's going to take to lay the foundation for this transition that we're getting ready to into next year and in 2012 and beyond. So that's just what I wanted to contribute to the conversation.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. Call me off the air here if you're in the Tucson area. Holler, give me a holler sometime, and this can be put together really easily, and I've got a feeling that a lot of farmers and ranchers who have tremendous experience in running a ranch, running a farm, they would love to have a dozen people come there to help them run it, and they could teach. They can teach these people how to run it, and then once you've got something running and operating, and it's actually making money and it's being self-sufficient, then you'll have people coming there from all over the country. This can be a turnkey business and a way to save your farm and save your ranch. So we don't have just 2%. I mean, if these big corporations and these huge corporate farms are in existence here, why? Because they're making a lot of money off of it, and that money should belong to the people.
And Clay, your beautiful plan and vision there also helps with another situation, which is the global change, and I'm not talking about global warming. I'm not talking about this phony Agenda 21 from the United Nations. But when I say the planetary changes, there are changes in the sun and in the crust of the earth, and we may have to receive a lot of refugees. And what a better way than come to a community that already has yurts and teepees ready to go.
That's right.
We're working on that in Kansas because we just love yurts, and I think anybody would be happy to have such a luxurious setting to live in on a lush land that's rich in agriculture.
That's right. And up in the mountains, up in Red River, just north of Taos, in New Mexico, they got yurts on a motel there. You can park your trailer in the back, and you want to stay in the yurt, it's up front.
Nice. Very nice. Well, you see, we're going to have a lot of refugees, because there will be changes over the surface of the land, and not because of a few gallons of gas that are burnt. It really has to do with deeper changes in the solar system and in the galaxy. So, I see your concept is going to come big in the next 2 years, and you're going to take thousands of refugees.
It has to be done now, and I've been trying to do it. I honestly believe that this is the reason they tried to kill me in 2004, because I had tried to buy a town down in southern New Mexico, Playas, and I raised over $100,000 in about 3 weeks when the governor came on television and said, we need to buy Playas, we got to buy it, and they overbid me by $3 million. They turned it into an anti-terrorist training camp, and then I came up with the concept of Liberty Villages, and
turned it around, back into the evil district that they come from.
That's right.
But that is what we're up against, and that is the true evil, is that, it's not so much that we just have to do this and let it go forward. It's like we have to do this and let them know that we know that this is our right, that we are the most authoritative being on the land, because we are flesh and blood, and they're a corporation. They're a corporate fiction. And I think if enough of us stand in that, but of course you have to know who you are in your creator in order to do that. And I think this country's been dumbed down for so long. We were looking at videos of all of Europe and Russia and Greece. They're all up in arms and protesting about what's going on. Because, the bankers, even in this country, I think a lot of people don't realize this, because I've been trying to educate folks, but the banks want to have 1% of your money. They get to take 1% of the money that comes into your bank, and they get 1% of your money on every transaction that goes out of the bank. And, try to go get some cash at the bank. They just don't want to give it up. It's like, this is just another type of raping of the people, of the goods and services that their sweat, labor, and sweat equity has been building. And so the corporate fiction is just like a hungry ghost. It wants to suck everybody dry. And until we say, stop, enough. This country was founded as a republic for people who did want to go out there and make their way on the land, not trespass against their brother. That's the big thing. That's why we have 10 commandments in our laws and in our courtrooms, is because this country was built on you can do what you like as long as you don't trespass against your brother. That means don't kill, don't steal, don't slander, false witness. We have completely forgotten that that is one of the major 10 commandments. Do not bear false witness against your brother. And how much of that is going on?
And that is exactly what the ADL and Southern Poverty Law have done. They're the ones that are calling me anti-Semitic. I've had Jews on here. I've had Jews from Israel on my show that are saying the same thing that we're saying. And you're right about this whole thing. This is gone beyond the United States. The United States was formed because our founding fathers fought the New World Order of their day. The sun never sets on the English Empire.
Exactly. And the Queen is still at it, and the Vatican is still at it, and people have got to wake up. I mean, where's America? France and England and Russia and Greece and Portugal, everybody's protesting, demonstrating in the streets against the banks, telling them they're not going to go with the program. And here in America, everybody's just wanting, oh, give me a little more comfort, I'll be fine. Instead of standing up and saying no. I mean, what would happen to Bank of America, who's just, it's really a mafia bank? What would happen to Bank of America if even 50% of Americans said, oh, I'm done. I'm not sending in a mortgage payment. I'm not sending in a credit card payment. I'm not sending in a loan payment. We're going to shut that bank down in 72 hours. And you watch what happens.
They go out and they confiscate. That's exactly what happened here. We offshored all of our jobs. The illegals came in, took over the jobs that were here, the low-paying jobs, and they went in and confiscated. They took over 1 million homes. They took a $2 trillion bailout and stole 1 million homes from the American people. And our founding fathers told us right up front, hey, you ever let a private bank issue your money? The banks and the corporations that spring up around them will leave your children homeless in the land that we conquered.
We are.
Yep, and now it's come to pass. Jefferson's words have come to pass. And now it's time to do something about it. So we really are encouraging people to, first of all, get to know who you are. That's the key to everything.
Yes.
Get to know who you are. There's no higher authority on the land than you, standing in your own identity, in your own sovereignty, as the office you hold. And what is our office? The office of man and the office of woman. The office of executor of our estate. And nobody can interfere with that. We're seeing a lot of action now of people writing executor letters to these courts. And the courts are they know they can't mess with the estates. So a lot of things are starting to crack because people are getting the knowledge. The words of the prophet Hosea, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And we see it every day in the United States. We see people perishing because they don't know how to go against these powers of darkness.
It's hard to do. I mean, I've been involved in presidential candidates. When our presidential candidate, the first to sign up for the presidential race in 1996, every time he got up to speak, every camera was turned off and pointed at the ground. Every sign was removed that said Charles Collins for president.
Wow.
So nobody in America ever knew that Charles Collins was trying to tell the Republican Party we could buy back the Federal Reserve and wipe out a $6 trillion debt, which is now $12 trillion, I believe.
Yep.
Well, it's the same like Ron Paul. He had a larger turnout than the Republican National Convention in the last election, but it wasn't covered. They completely blacked him out.
I was there.
There you go.
I was there, and I get discouraged sometimes because they have tried to kill me. I have lost pretty much everything over time trying to get this done. And I can't quit. My friend John Trockman did started a militia in Montana, and he just kind of quit. He said, Clay, we've tried to tell him. We told him what FEMA was going to become. We tried to tell them, and they wouldn't listen to us, and they wouldn't help us then. So, to hell with them. They're going to get the government they deserve.
I kind of like the old saying, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. I mean, what's the point in living as a slave when we were born free to be free? It's just, it's unthinkable.
Why would I, for the last 20 years, I've caught hell for the title Free American, They hate that. They hate that thought. They hate the thought of somebody actually being free, and
that's what this country was built on. a man and woman to be free under their creator. And that's why Europe and the rest of the world looks to us, because we are still the last hope of that allowing to be on the planet. And, and I have to say, I was guilty myself. Democracy. Yes, democracy means freedom. So little did I know, democracy is just mob rule.
2 wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner, according to Benjamin Franklin.
And it's not what our forefathers created.
No, one of my favorite things over the last few years is to go to a park where a politician's speaking, and as soon as he mentions our great democracy, I step up and I go, "Excuse me, sir, can you tell me when our republic became a democracy? What Congress changed that?" And strange things start happening. Every camera shuts off, the politician disappears, and people are standing around looking at each other going, "What happened? What just happened?"
This is the kind of ignorance we're up against. We've got to educate the people. People need to stand up and understand who they are. Because you can walk into a courtroom and you can be out of there in 15 minutes if you know who you are.
This is what, let me share this with you, folks, because I've been trying to bring the Free American back out for 6 years after being unconscious. And let me just share, this is one of the last issues that I put out, because this is exactly what I did. After Waco, what happened in Waco, I said the American people have to be educated. They have to be educated. How can you do? The media controls everything that they get, so they think the militias are bad, that sovereigns are dangerous, and that, that if you don't want to pay your fair share of your income tax, then you're a tax protester. I wrote this probably 20 years ago. The Free American remains committed to bringing the truth to the American people. We believe this is that in a free society, it is the job of the press to be the watchman of the government. Then it falls on the people, being fully informed, to decide what actions they must take to preserve and defend their liberty. The Free American is unabashedly pro-American. Too many of our ancestors fought and died to protect our Constitution, the oldest in the world, to ensure we would retain those liberties spelled out in our Bill of Rights. Based on the knowledge we've compiled over the last 9 years of publication, we believe there is a verifiable, well-documented plan to force Americans into a global government complete with one world banking, a global ID system, an international police force, and a disarmed populace. This is unacceptable to us personally and incompatible with our Constitution and Bill of Rights. Those who advocate such a global system and the dismantling of our Bill of Rights are either misguided, uninformed, or totally knowledgeable traitors to this country. We will expose them. The Free American is not affiliated with any political, religious sect, political party, religious sect, secret society, cult, club, or movement. We do not advocate violence, but we stress the right to self-defense and that the individual's right to bear arms, to be free of intrusive government, to privacy, and the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. This has been my goal for 20 years, and that's still my goal. And
Beautiful.
By the way, I've had preachers come up to me and go, "Clay, how come we never see you in church?" And I said, "Well, Father, does God tell you what to say to your flock?" Well, yes. Well, me too. And I think he's lying, personally. I think he's lying because most of the preachers are in the Judeo-Christian 501c3 religious system.
Right, yep. Another corporation,
and it's to control us. And if we say anything about, if we encourage people to vote for Ron Paul, we could lose our tax-free status.
Yeah. So they made their covenant with Babylon. How can they possibly be declaring the truth? It's impossible.
I said the money changers that Jesus ran out of the temple are still with us. They just changed the name of the temple. They call it the Federal Reserve or the Bank of England or the International Monetary Fund now.
Yeah. Yeah, the inns at Temple Court are running their temple through the banks, which, like you say, are the temples. And now we have preachers in the pulpit that are selling Forex trading systems, currency trading systems. So the money changers are actually in the pulpits now. It's just unbelievable.
Well, John Hagee was sent. Your money's going to support Israel. When these people are invaders, they didn't come from Israel, they didn't come from Palestine, and Christians and Jews lived peacefully in Palestine and Jordan and Iraq for years.
Just like in Kosovo. Remember before Kosovo exploded, how the Islamic and Christian people used to have the barbecues in the alleyways, and all the neighbors were happy. And somebody threw in some propaganda, and that area exploded. All part of the New World Order plan.
Yeah.
And, I don't understand how preachers can so twist the Bible. It's very clear that Israel is a spiritual concept, and to turn Israel into just another one of the nations, which is what the House of Rothschild did by creating the modern state of Israel, which has no real spiritual foundation, and to have preachers saying, if you don't support Israel, you're not really with God. That is just, that's blasphemy, actually.
You're right about the Israelites. I mean, I could buy in Christian identity. I included information about Christian identity into the Mystery Babylon. And because I don't have any problem believing that one of my ancestors somewhere, since I don't even know who my grandmother slept with, one of my ancestors 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, might have crossed the Caucasus Mountains, coming after hanging out in Jerusalem, after hanging out with Jesus and the apostles. They might have crossed the Caucasus Mountains and became called Caucasians. And then they went out and did exactly what God wanted us to do: spread the word, spread the Bible, let people know about freedom. Now, the Bible, I think, has been corrupted. The religions have been corrupted. I think the whole concept of Judeo-Christianity, after reading the Talmud, after understanding what the Talmud, and after reading the statements from the rabbis, how they feel about Gentiles, then my God,
I think it's a shame because people, I call it Christian baggage or religious baggage, but the sins of men have been laid upon the Word of God, and the sad thing is it's gotten so laden with the sins of men and the craft and the manipulation that people can't even see the Word anymore. But the Word is still there, and I do believe that the Spirit is upon us. We do have the Helper that helps us to discern all things, and that Christ actually came to lift the veil and help us to realize that there is more going on besides flesh and blood reality than we even realize. And that's still there, right there in those scriptures, if you can just divest yourself from all the crap and all the people and all of the bullshit that's been put on you, and just really allow yourself to come in, be still, and know what is truly there as the mystery of your soul and your heart, because you are the kingdom of the Holy Spirit. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And that's what we have to live.
That's what I've told the preacher. Well, God talks to me. He tells me what to tell my flock, and I'm telling you that Judeo-Christianity is Khazaro Christianity. It is satanic. I'm a satanic Christian. Thank you. Be sure to send money, and I'll save your soul. Well, thanks anyway. I'll save my own. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I believe that's it. I mean, if you've got a personal relationship with God, I don't care what you call him. If you want to call him Allah, you want to call him, whatever you want to call him.
You're absolutely right.
If you're omnipotent and omniscient, let's see, what are you? Oh, yeah, bored shitless. So he creates us with a little bit of amnesia, and a little bit, and a spark of divinity that we call the soul, and then he sits back and sees if we can figure out who we really are, and who the liars are. And here's a guidebook. It's called the Bible. As long as you read the whole thing, as soon as you read it yourself, and as soon as you start understanding that you don't need a translator.
That's it. And that was the whole strategy of the Roman Catholic Church, was to keep people from reading the Bible, because if people would really read the Bible, they would see that they are the object of God's love, and that the point is to have that birth, not 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem, but have that birth in the manger of your own heart, so you become a Christed being. God forbid, if
Christ consciousness, and I believe I've got it. I believe I'm in touch. And this ain't some guy sitting up on a cloud up there that that I got to swear homage to. You know, Clay, have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Master? No. And why should I fear God? Why should I fear my Father?
There you go.
You know, and if you're not doing anything wrong, then just guess what? You don't. You don't. There's nothing to fear. You know. I don't know if I certainly don't worry about going to hell. I think I'm already there.
Well, this planet is a hell space, and that's why we're battling these spiritual powers, because they have made the Earth from a beautiful paradise into a hell space where most people are living under the threat of genocide, poisoning, systematic terrorism.
I invite you to go to my website, and down on the right-hand side underneath the Merry Christmas, there's Meet Lucifer. And yeah, I said that's my picture. Who better to play the role of Lucifer than the most demonized man in America now? And yeah, that is my Harley there too, but not my flying saucer. That's the only one thing I didn't have there. So, but if you take a look at that, it gives you a little different viewpoint and understanding. That the churches are trying to enslave you. The churches, if there's a devil, what if he formed a church? You know, there's a lot of what ifs here, but we got to deal with them. We got to deal with them.
We got to deal with the Psy war that we're under. I mean, you cover so many important topics on your website, and I think that we need to carry on the battle. We can't give up like your friend in Montana with the militia, because it's just not an option. You know, we're not here to give up and pack up, and we're here to carry through the victory of God's people.
Let me tell you, folks, I have not quit, not 1 minute. As soon as I got out of the hospital, I went back to work. I'm still working. I've got the plans. I've got the knowledge. I've got the distributorship on the teepees and the yurts. We've got the heritage food seeds where we can get the seeds, and we don't have to grow genetically modified crap. We can feed our livestock on hemp seeds, and they'll be healthier and happy.
There you go.
And by the way, the hemp, the marijuana, as the Hearst like to call it, that replenishes your soil, and it pulls out the hemp plant is the most nutritious plant out there, food plant. Got antioxidants out the ass, got fulvic acid because the roots reach deep, and folks, all the answers are there. But
great for roots, great for clothing, great for fuel, great for cars. We thought cars.
That's right. And by the way, our Constitution and our Bill of Rights is written on hemp paper, and the Encyclopedia Britannica was printed on it for 100 years. We're out of time. God bless you guys. I hope to be in touch with you all the time.
Yes, indeed. God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. And I think you have given us a great Christmas gift. Your presence on my show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Call recording has been completed.
He was great, man. He did it.
It's good, isn't it?
Okay, well, I still got you on, so I heard that.
I thought he had a great soundbite there. I thought he was very articulate, laid out the whole historic aspect and what people need to do. I thought it was just lovely.
Yeah, Mike, I can't wait till you and Mike talk. You're going to love Mike. He's a great guy.
Yeah, great. He's here too, so. All right, let me, I got everybody. Yeah.
You can help him because he's looking for good people to form the grand jury, because Tim Turner stole the grand jury in Arizona.
Oh, well, I've got the Breakfast Club here. I'm running the Breakfast Club now, and that's been going for 40 years, exploring constitutional messages. I mean, I can get him on in a heartbeat.
That's wonderful.
Nice.
Where'd the Breakfast Club meet, on the blog radio or where?
No, it meets at the Hungry Fox restaurant over on Broadway and Swan Avenue.
Oh, he'll love that. He'll just love that. Oh, that's wonderful.
We're closed down for we're not meeting tomorrow or New Year's, but the next week after that I got open, and I had one of these, and the whole story is kind of up on my website on Lee Bracker. I think it's on my THC Ministries of Arizona website. Lee Bracker, a Jew, started trying to talk to people, trying to get them to vote me out. And finally I said, you know what? I'm not going to be voted out. You're getting thrown out. And so I